Let's talk some high school football on Fox 23 Sports Director Nathan Thompson along with the Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World. And we've got a full schedule this week after so many teams were on bye last week. Full schedule here to start off district play and a little bit of a rivalry game here in your top 5 games that you can get in the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World right there, or you can get on okprepsextra.com. So we have Union at Owasso in District 6A12.
Well, last year's was quite the titanic defensive struggle that Union wound up winning 10-7 in overtime, and that really set the tone for the rest of the season for those teams. And so here's the rematch a year later, and 2 of the last 5 games between these teams, or the last 5 regular season meetings, have gone into overtime. I don't think this one will go into overtime because I consider Union a considerable favorite, but you never know. Owasso, they've been, despite all the adversity, they're 1-2, and they've been really competitive for the most part. And so I think they can give Union a battle.
And your game number 2 is in District 6A22, so that makes sense. Muskogee at Sand Springs.
Yes, this could be the most exciting game of the night. Muskogee, a surprising 3-0. They played an impressive schedule. And Sand Springs 2-1 with its only loss to Bixby. Hey, that's understandable. So these teams have played some wild games through the years. Last year was 48-34. I think this one could be like 48-47. It's going to be a fun night at Sand Springs. This is a game that can really set the tone for the rest of the season for each of these teams.
And game number 3, Enid at Jenks. This is an interesting matchup for Trojans because after this bye week, they're kind of healed up a little bit. They've had some players missing for a lot of the non-district games, and they'll have some players back for this one.
Yes, we'll see, I think, the real Jenks team for the most part this week as they get healthier. And it's sort of like a relaunch for their season against Enid team you can't overlook. Enid is 2-1. It's a program that's been down, but it's going in the right direction. I remember saying this last year before they played Jenks, and when Enid was also 2-1, and Jenks routed them. Although Enid played fairly well in that game, but still it was a romp for Jenks. So I think if Jenks is really rolling, the same thing will happen again. Although Enid is improved, so we'll just see if this relaunch of the season works out as well for Jenks as it hopes it will.
And game number 4, we go to Class A for this. Speaking of rivalries, Hominy at Pawnee. This is a good rivalry.
Very intense rivalry. And this is probably the most anticipated game in the rivalry since 2017 when they met in the playoffs. After not meeting in the regular season, in a rarity because of an altercation in the previous year's playoffs between the teams. But it is a great rivalry. Both teams are 3-0, and it should be a fun night.
And rounding out the top 5, the Battle of the Halls, Holland Hall at Cash Hall. Weird spot here for Holland. The 2-time defending state champ is 0-3 on the season.
0-3, and it's not a good 0-3 as Holland Hall has only scored 1 touchdown so far. But a lot of times teams, especially with great coaches like Holland Hall has with Tag Gross, they get it figured out during the bye week. And maybe that will be the case. It'll be a tough test for them going against the Cassia Hall Blue Swarm defense. This rivalry's had a lot of close games. I'm not anticipating a close game. I think Cassia Hall is a strong favorite. But again, it's a rivalry. You never know. And for the first time ever, they are playing in a district game. So it will count even more than it has in the past, and they've been meeting every year since 1966.
If you want the full write-ups on these top 5 games, get the Tuesday edition of the Tulsa World. You can also get it on okprepsextra.com, and there's actually 5 more games, honorable mention write-ups if you go online to get that version. And again, pick up Tulsa World on a Friday for a preview of all that night's action. Saturday, they have the game coverage and the scores and the great pictures from the Tulsa World photography staff. And as I said, go to okprepsextra.com for all their coverage online. Fox 23 game of the week is, of course, Union at Owasso. We will be live there Friday at 6:20 to preview the action at 10:15 with extended highlights of that game and other area matchups. And 11 o'clock live there from Owasso with our 30-minute show, High School Football Tonight. Even more highlights, expert analysis from Barry, reaction from some of the teams. Make sure you watch Friday night at 11 o'clock. If you missed any of our coverage, you can go to fox23.com and click on the High School Football tab. All right, thanks for watching.